Well, I just signed up for this yesterday, so I have put my thoughts together. And I'm just getting over an unpleasant experience. Speaking of the Skandhas, I had cataract surgery, and now I have a black eye and blown uh, a blown vein in my hand. So I'm kind of looking like I've been beaten up. So anyway, I'm going to focus on two of the skandhas. And I really appreciate, first of all, Jess and Rosemary, your reflections. Mine's not going to be quite so academic. So I'm going to focus on feelings. There are sensations that arise in response to our experience, including all pain and pleasure. And they can be pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. Or sometimes it says liking, disliking, or being indifferent. And it's kind of the basis for moving towards or away. And perception, the mental process of recognizing, identifying, and interpreting sensory info. And this involves conceptualizing, categorizing our experience based on our five senses. And I love I love this. As we see from this analogy, I won't read the analogy, but perception adds names and labels of recognition based on past experience. And this enlivening discovery of the new is what is the downloading of past perceptions block. So I'm just going to give some different examples that came up for me. When I was in my 30s, I had chronic pain that came out of the blue. And, you know, chronic pain is, if anybody's experienced that, it's unpleasant. Want to get rid of it. So I went to all these doctors. They couldn't find anything wrong. I thought I had Lyme disease. So and then I went to an alternative medicine doctor. I just tried all these things, trying to get rid of my pain. And thinking that I was dying from something they couldn't find. And then I watched, if anybody has watched long ago, Bill Moyer's special, Healing in the Mind. They had an episode with John Kabat-Zinn where he does his mindfulness course. And he had this participant in one of his groups. He said, "I'm your pain. What do you want me to do? What do you want to do with me?" And he goes, "I want to push you away." And he goes, "Still here." And he goes, "You have to learn to dance with me." And that just was this sort of wake-up call for me. I may never get rid of this pain. I have to learn to live with it. I don't have the pain anymore, but for a long time, you know, I got almost a split brain mind, the split mind. Like I'd go out and do things and I'd check in and I go, pain's still there. But I didn't have all the thoughts about it. So that's one experience. And then I was thinking of my work as a therapist. First, I'm going to read this because Jess kind of alluded to this yesterday. There's this. If you can simply feel your feelings as they arise without rejecting them or telling yourself stale stories of why you are right to feel this way, then feelings emerge as highlights of being human, vivid signs of being alive. And I remember reading Pema Chodron a long time ago, and she talked about dropping the storyline and just feel the feelings. And, in my experience with clients, because I'm a therapist, when I was very new training, I was working with this supervisor and we would meet after group. And I said, I don't know, that woman doesn't like me. And he goes, great, we're going to talk about that tomorrow. And I went, no. So anyway, he brought it up. He goes, Jan here doesn't think you like her. And she said, I hate her. The hairs on the back of my neck go up. And I was going, oh my God. And then he said, you just met her this week. You don't know her well enough. Who did she remind you of? And she started sobbing. And she said, my sister. So, that's that experience of our past sometimes dictates our judgment, our likes, dislikes. Another client, she told me she cries all the time. And she was real pleasant. And I said, well, what do you cry about? And she goes, well, little kid does something and I cry because I'm moved. But everybody's bothered by my crying. And and the more I talked to her, I realized she wasn't depressed. She just was emotional. And I said, why do you, it's okay you cry. Maybe it's making peace with that. And now she just says, I cry and I don't care what people think. So sometimes just that storyline. And I kind of think about that a lot in our culture. People want to get rid of feelings. Like we have we dislike certain feelings and we like certain feelings. And so I think like grief, Jess alluded to that. Grief's a normal human experience, but people want to medicate it often or other experiences. So, and then I was going to talk about, the older I get, sounds or noise is the more derogatory term for sound. But in my Zazen practice one morning, I was sitting and the birds were chirping outside and I thought, oh, how pleasant. And I just went deeper into my Zen experience. So that's a like. I like bird sounds. But living downtown, there's also trash pickup, car alarms going off. And those are dislikes. And so I think, just being aware of how these different experiences we categorize. That's really all I have. I wish I had more. But I had really fun putting this together and just thinking about it.
Jan, thank you so much. You said something and I didn't get all of it and it really resonated for me. And I don't remember which story it was about, but it was about dropping the storyline, but keeping the feeling or facing the feeling or being with the feeling. Was that it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is very powerful actually, because you're acknowledging and respecting your response, but staying just with that without the story. I think that's a really good practice, something to think about. So thank you for that. Thanks.
Joel?
To begin with an experience of chronic pain, to turn toward that in the way that you described John Kabat-Zinn talking about it. That's a great teaching. I'm so grateful for the reminder of it. Even in a situation as dire as what you were describing before. And the teaching and you saying that now, I mean, I can say, oh, you have pain, turn toward it. You saying that is different. Thank you.
We have Jess.
Jess?
Yeah. Hi, Jan. Thank you so much for sharing. And I appreciated the stories and kind of like reflecting on your life. And again, yeah, the chronic pain and going through it, and reminding me of what Joel was saying earlier, that like, you wouldn't want that to happen to your body. So but it did. So who's really in control? And now that it's here, what are you going to do with it? And I'm curious, like, it sounds like more like, recently in the here and now, you've had the cataract procedure challenges, and then you had the vein or the problem there, but you signed up for this yesterday. So what motivated you to be with us here for this?
Well, in part, I met with Kim yesterday and Elizabeth, and I don't like to miss things. But also, I thought I'd probably be sitting here feeling sorry for myself. And what better thing to be engaged with the teachings? So, yeah.